When Monarch, Legacy of Monsters first expanded the Monsterverse, it grounded the story in mystery, science, and the terrifying presence of Titans. But Season 2, Episode 6 changes everything we thought we understood. Because this episode doesn't just reveal new secrets about Monarch or the Titans, it introduces something far more shocking: the possibility that time itself is being affected. And if you watch this episode closely, you probably felt it. That sense that something wasn't lining up. Moments that seemed slightly off. Events that didn't fully make sense in a normal, linear timeline. That's not a mistake. That's the point. Episode 6 is deliberately showing us that the rules of reality inside the Monsterverse may be breaking down. From the very beginning, the episode creates this uneasy tone. The pacing feels different, the transitions feel strange, and the characters themselves seem to be reacting to things they can't fully explain. Monarch, which has always been about studying and containing Titans, suddenly finds itself dealing with something far more complex. This isn't just about giant creatures anymore. This is about the fabric of time. And the key to understanding this lies in the connection between Titans and the environments they inhabit. We've already seen hints of this in earlier Monsterverse projects, especially in Godzilla vs. Kong, where the Hollow Earth was introduced as a place where the laws of physics don't behave normally. Gravity shifts, landscapes distort, and everything feels slightly disconnected from the world above. But Episode 6 pushes that concept even further. It suggests that the Hollow Earth, or at least certain Titan-related locations, aren't just physically different. They may exist outside of normal time. Or more accurately, they may exist at multiple points in time simultaneously. That's a huge shift because it means these places aren't just hidden, they're unstable. And that instability is starting to leak into the world above. Throughout the episode, there are subtle clues that time isn't behaving the way it should. Characters encounter things that shouldn't be there. Information appears before it logically should exist. And certain moments feel like echoes, as if they've happened before or are happening again in a slightly different way. At first, these moments are easy to overlook. But as the episode progresses, it becomes clear that this is all connected. Monarch begins to realize that what they're dealing with isn't just a new type of Titan behavior. It's a completely new phenomenon. Time distortion. And this is where the episode delivers its biggest twist. There's a moment where evidence appears, something that directly contradicts the established timeline. Whether it's an object, a signal, or a discovery that shouldn't exist yet, it forces the characters to confront a terrifying possibility. The boundary between past and present is breaking down. This isn't time travel in the traditional sense. No one is stepping into a machine and choosing a destination. Instead, time itself seems to be folding, overlapping, and bleeding into different moments. And the Titans may be at the center of it. That idea changes how we see everything. Up until now, Titans have been described as ancient creatures, beings that have existed for millions of years. But what if that's not the full story? What if they don't just exist across time, but actually move through it in ways we don't understand? That would explain why they seem almost mythical. Why different cultures across history have recorded encounters with similar creatures. Why Monarch has always struggled to predict their behavior. Because if Titans aren't bound to a single timeline, then their actions wouldn't follow a normal pattern. They wouldn't just be unpredictable. They would be operating on an entirely different level of reality. And that brings us to one of the most unsettling implications of the episode. If time distortion is real, then it's possible that some of what we've seen in the Monsterverse hasn't happened in a straightforward way. Certain events might overlap. Certain outcomes might influence each other across time. In other words, the timeline itself may not be stable. There are even hints that some characters might have experienced this without realizing it. Small inconsistencies in memory, reactions that don't quite match the situation, or moments where things feel strangely familiar. These details suggest that the effects of time distortion aren't limited to the environment. They're affecting people too. And that raises a disturbing question. What if some events aren't happening for the first time? What if the Monsterverse is dealing with a kind of temporal loop, or at least a situation where the same moments are intersecting from different points in time? If that's true, then the stakes are far higher than anything we've seen before. Because now, the danger isn't just physical destruction. It's the possibility that reality itself could become unstable. Monarch's role in all of this becomes even more important. For years, they've focused on studying Titans and protecting humanity from their destructive power. But Episode 6 suggests that their mission may need to evolve. They're not just dealing with monsters anymore. They're dealing with time. And that means their responsibility could expand beyond protecting people in the present. They may need to protect the integrity of the timeline itself. That's a massive shift, and it opens up entirely new directions for the story. Imagine what this could lead to. We could see characters encountering past Titan events, not as flashbacks, but as real, interactive experiences. We could see lost expeditions reappear in the present, bringing with them knowledge or danger from another time. We could even see different versions of events that challenge what we thought we knew about the Monsterverse. It also creates opportunities to explore the history of Titans in a much deeper way. Instead of simply telling us about ancient civilizations and their connection to these creatures, the show could actually take us there. It could show us how these relationships formed, how they evolved, and how they might be connected to the present in ways we never expected. But with all of this potential comes risk. Time-based storytelling is complicated. It introduces questions about cause and effect, about paradoxes, and about consequences. And Episode 6 doesn't try to answer all of those questions. In fact, it does the opposite. It leans into the mystery. It gives us just enough information to understand that something is happening, but not enough to fully explain it. And that's what makes the episode so effective. It doesn't resolve the story. It expands it. The ending reinforces this idea perfectly. Instead of wrapping things up, it leaves us with a sense of uncertainty, a feeling that Monarch has only just begun to uncover something far bigger than they expected, something that could change not just their understanding of Titans, but their understanding of reality itself. And that's what makes this twist so exciting. The Monsterverse has always been about scale. Bigger creatures, bigger battles, bigger stakes. But Episode 6 introduces a new kind of scale, one that goes beyond physical size or power. It introduces the scale of time. And once that door is opened, there's no easy way to close it. So moving forward, the biggest question is this. Can Monarch handle what they've discovered? Do they have the knowledge, the resources, and the understanding to deal with something as complex and unpredictable as time distortion? Or have they stepped into something that's far beyond their control? Because if this episode is any indication, the Monsterverse isn't just growing. It's evolving into something far more complex, far more mysterious, and far more dangerous than anything we've seen before. And whatever comes next, it's going to change everything.